Today I'm going to be showing you all my postcard collection with the help of my little dog Luna. She's here keeping watch out of the window, so I hope you enjoy. I'm going to start off with my most recent postcards. I got these on my trip to Montreal. Oh, we have a bonus here. So in Montreal, we visited the Biodome, which is a former Olympic stadium that was converted into a sanctuary for all kinds of animals. And so we were really excited to see the capybara. So my brother picked up this little capybara keychain. So that was also in the bag just now. Luna's laying down now. One of the postcards I got was from the Biodome, or Biodome de Montréal. And there's a lot of different species on this postcard that we got to see in Montreal. We have the sloth, the lynx, the puffin, the starfish, the capybara, the penguin, and the little frog. Next, from Montreal, from the Museum of Fine Arts, I have these two postcards. These are both works of a Japanese artist, Ando Hiroshige. These are both from a series of paintings called 53 Stations of the Tokaido. So it's about the journey from Tokyo to Kyoto, I believe. I really enjoyed the colorful mountains and sea of this postcard. And this one, we see a little farmer crossing this bridge, tree blowing in the wind, beautiful landscape. And the final postcard I got in Montreal is also from the Museum of Fine Arts. There is a display on Flemish artwork. So this is a Flemish work. I like the flowers depicting a little image of Virgin Mary and Jesus in the center. I just thought the framing and the colors were really pretty on this one. Next up is this old postcard I got, I don't even know where. I believe from an antique shop in Philadelphia, actually. It's in French and it says Savon de toilette, essence de lavande. And it's this woman next to her bath, some soap. She's got this white flowy dress on, and it has this vintage kind of look that I really liked. Okay, moving on to my large bin of postcards. Let's see which one we're going to go with first. Quite a few. Alright, let's start with this one. This one I got on my family's past trip over the winter to a bunch of national parks. So we went to Bryce Canyon National Park, And what they're really known for at Bryce Canyon is these rock formations called hoodoos, like stacked rocks. Before, I believe they used to be pillars connected like a wall or arches, but eventually these sides eroded away, leaving only these very unique column formations. There are a lot of different trails in Bryce Canyon, some that go through the main amphitheater, which is kind of this valley with all these hoodoos in it, or in the back country, which is the trails behind them. When my family went, we did one of the main amphitheater trails that follows a lot of the most famous hoodoo formations. I believe one of them is called Queen Mary, and it's a hoodoo that's supposed to be shaped like the silhouette of a woman. Moving on to our next national park, I have this postcard from Arches National Park. We visited Delicate Arch, which is this very famous arch here, and it was a bit of a scary hike. So when we went, we had to walk right along the edge of one of the canyons, and there was a very steep drop and there's no railing at all. And so being a little scared of heights is a little scary. And once you get to this arch, there's this big basin, this kind of bowl formation. And so if you're not careful while walking along the edge to see the arch, you could just slip down and fall. So that was a little scary too, but the view was definitely worth it. Arches National Park is so beautiful. I think is one of the favorite ones I visited. All of these arches, though, are in danger of collapsing at some point. Very delicate and susceptible to erosion. And so over the years, all of these arches will probably collapse just as new arches will be formed. Next, I got this hand-painted card. I actually don't remember which park I got this from. Capitol Reef National Park, which is actually a smaller national park, or one that I believe is less visited than Arches and Bryce Canyon. I really like this hand-painted card though. It has these two little hikers that you can almost miss if you don't spot them closely. And I like the boulders and the looming canyon in the background, this little tree. I just think it's beautifully painted and kind of shows how nature is so large and vast and we're just tiny little humans at the end of the day. Next postcard I have is from Zion National Park. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. In Zion, we actually arrived really late in the evening, so we started a hike just before sunset. And so by the time we were looping back, it was starting to get a little dark, and we were a little scared because there are a lot of steep drop-offs, and we were worried if we didn't look closely where we were walking, one of us might get hurt. So I'd recommend probably to not attempt hikes close to sunset and instead, do it during the daylight. But the sunset was beautiful. Zion is known for Angel's Landing, which is a very difficult hike that involves climbing on ladders and steep slopes, and so we didn't attempt that this time, but I definitely want to go back and try it one day. I got this next postcard from Grand Canyon National Park. This is the California condor. California condor used to be, or still is, critically endangered, but before there were only a few left in the wild. But due to many captive breeding programs at many zoos around the country, their species has rebounded a lot, which is great. I really wanted to spot one in the wild because they have a territory of only just a couple states, I believe Arizona and Utah might be the ones they're mainly found in now. So I wanted to see one, but unfortunately didn't get to spot one on this trip. However, I recently visited the LA Zoo and the San Diego Zoo, and they both have California condor breeding programs, so I got to see them both at both zoos in captivity. But if you ever see one in the wild, usually they have little tags on their wings with numbers, just so park services can keep track of them as they are endangered. They also look really similar to vultures. I think the biggest difference that I've noticed is that the California condor will have these white stripes on the inside, whereas they'll have these black areas on the outside. And for vultures, I believe it's inverted, so they'll have black here and the white on the outside. California condors also are scavengers, meaning they eat carrion. So some of the adaptations that they have are, first of all, their stomachs are really strong. So all the bacteria that we would get sick from eating dead and spoiled meat, they wouldn't get sick from. They also have these weird bald heads. And I believe that it's because, when you have dead animals, you get a lot of blood and gunk all over you. So that just helps them keep clean and prevent them from getting sick. There's the California condor from Grand Canyon. Next card I have is also some artwork. I don't know where I got it from. It's a Navajo artwork. The scene depicted is located in the Big Mountain area of Navajo land. The White Rock Canyon surrounding the Hogan produces a white clay soil that Navajo weavers use to bring a brightness to the wool used for rugs. The forked Hogan has a beautiful rug over the entrance. So I guess you can see in the foreground, here's a Hogan with the Navajo rug and these vast canyons beyond. I believe I picked this up when we visited Antelope Canyon, which is actually located on Navajo land. So I don't have a postcard actually depicting Antelope Canyon, but it's really beautiful, carved by rivers thousands of years ago. If you look up, it's just caverns of orange waves almost. It's really beautiful, and I think the Navajo tradition is really amazing as well. We had a Navajo guide who was showing us through and told us a lot of stories and even played flute for us during our tour, which was really cool to see. So I believe that wraps it up for my national park trip postcards. Moving on, I have a few random ones. I think this came from the New Yorker. I have this little collection of foldouts. This one was a guy shopping for wine. I don't remember the name, but it had a taste that I liked. The next one is these two birds building their little nest. He's reading the instructions and he says, "There's always one annoying piece left over." The next one, two office workers in a cubicle. "I wish I had a salary that disgusted people." And lastly, a father talking to his son at the playground. "Son, if you can't say something nice, say something clever but devastating." So these were a bit random, but I liked them, so I saved them. Next, I have this Little Mermaid card. It's folded and worn. It depicts Ariel, Flounder. What is his name again? I don't remember. Oh, it's gonna bother me now. Sebastian, that's right. So I actually got this card from my parents. 1989 is when The Little Mermaid was made. I think they got this from Disney. many years ago. So I just think it's kind of cool. Let's see. I have some postcards here from my trip to France last summer. So this postcard is from Chateau de Blois, which is the chateau we visited during our little trip to the Loire Valley to see all those different chateaus. So this one was a painting with the chateau in the background. I remember the chateau had these really high walls. And so in this picture, it's all hills and landscape surrounding it. But when we visited, it was surrounded by a city and like different cafes and new buildings had popped up all around here. So it was really interesting to see what it would have looked like many years ago. The next postcard I have is La salle était garde au musée de Dijon. So, I believe this postcard depicts a room in the Museum of Fine Arts in Dijon, France. I can't quite remember what the room is used for, but you can see these sculptures of angels. I wonder if these are like crypts. There are a lot of paintings on the wall, gallery style. These three women in the corner, I wonder what they're doing. They're observing. This woman is looking down. A lot of statues, some Gothic architecture, some knights, and it says 1847. So, a very long time ago. The Museum of Fine Arts in Dijon has a lot of different paintings and sculptures. Dijon has a rich history. It used to be the capital of the Burgundy region, or I believe it was its own country at some point. So it's located right next to the Palace of the Dukes of Burgundy in Dijon. There's a lot of interesting history there. Next I have this postcard from Chateau de Chenonceau, which was my favorite castle we visited in the Loire Valley, because it was built on top of a river. So this part would all be river, so it kind of arches over it. So we got to peek out of these windows here. It was right over the water. Originally, it was just this structure over here. Then it was extended over. I believe there was some sort of fight between the wife and the mistress of one king, I don't even want to guess. But this was a hotly contested property at some point. And I can see why. It was really beautiful. The next postcard I have is actually from Paris. So this is the Théâtre de l'Opéra in Paris. I didn't get to catch an opera this time when I visited, but I did get to see a tour of the inside. And fun fact, this theater is actually where the Phantom of the Opera takes place. And so there are a lot of ornate ballrooms and areas, and the theater itself is massive and highly decorated. But I like this depiction of the architecture. You can kind of see things you wouldn't really notice if you were just looking at it. The next postcard I have is from Dijon. It's the Place de la Libération in Dijon. So this is the palace I was talking about earlier, where the dukes used to live when Burgundy was an independent country or territory, I don't know. But I like how it had these sprigs of some kind of plant, maybe rosemary, surrounding it. It has this like kind of depiction of it being in like a bubble or a snow globe. I think it's really interesting. The paper is also like this textured, crinkly kind of paper. Does it say the artist? VLL Noël Dijon. I don't know if that's the artist, but oh wait, that's Christmas Dijon. Oh, this is like a Christmas ornament. Oh, okay, I see. So this looks like a Christmas tree. Maybe this is an ornament in it, and facing it, so you can see the reflection, is the palace of the dukes. And maybe this like tall shadow here is the Christmas tree's reflection. It's interesting. I didn't even catch that before. From the same artist, I have another postcard. This is the Square du Duc de Bourgogne, Square of the Dukes of Burgundy and Dijon. This little pond. And it kind of looks inconspicuous, but I actually remember during my time in Dijon, I would sit by this pond and read books while munching on like an eclair or croissant. So I really wanted to remember this nice little green space that I enjoyed during my time in Dijon. So that was really pretty. Next postcard I have is from Paris again. So this is from the Musée de l'Orangerie in Paris. So what this museum is most famous for is having Monet's water lilies. And so they kind of have these curved oval walls, and all along the wall they have Monet's water lilies. So when you walk around, it kind of feels like you're really there. Like when you're walking around, you feel like you're surrounded. One thing that I didn't really like in my experience there was that it was really loud. There were so many people there and they're all chattering. Even though the wall had signs that said no talking, like be quiet, be respectful. There were just so many people that it was just loud. Hard to focus on the artwork. So what I ended up doing was putting in noise cancelling headphones, just listening to like classical music as I walked around. Because I really wanted to be able to take them in for myself and not be distracted. I think because, the water lilies are things I've only seen online. Never gotten to see them in person, so I really wanted it to be like a memorable experience. So I picked out this postcard. I love lavender tints in the water, the way the lily pads are all floating near each other here, and the lotus flowers are kind of multicolored, and red, and yellow, and white. You can kind of see it's different hints of lots of different colors dabbled in, which was very unique. So this is a special memory for me. Next postcard I have is another one from the Loire Valley. Right here I have a postcard from Le Château de Sully-sur-Loire. This actually was the first chateau we visited on our trip, and also the oldest. And they were telling us that when we view the chateaus, the ones in the beginning look kind of like this. They kind of look like they're more focused on defense, with these big moats, these tall towers with little areas for shooters to stand in for intruders. But then later on, as I showed you, So other chateaus were more ornate, artful, and more for just luxury and enjoyment rather than just defense. So it kind of shows the evolution of the concept of the chateau over time. I like this postcard because it had a couple animals in it. This little bird up here, swan, and a squirrel. It's just a cute little postcard. I have another postcard from Dijon. This was one of the most memorable houses that you'll see in the city center. It's kind of got these wooden panels on it in a sort of medieval style. Dijon by Pascal Francois. So I thought this was just a good reminder of the city center. So moving on, the next postcards are from my trip to Spain and Portugal. So the first one we have here is from Alcazar de Sevilla. Why am I pronouncing that in French? I don't speak Spanish, but this is from the Royal Alcazar in Seville. These beautiful, hand-painted designs. The artwork there was really beautiful. But honestly, the biggest thing I remember from being in the Royal Alcazar of Seville was that they had these really ornate geometric ceilings. So they kind of look like this, kind of like kaleidoscopes. And so they were right in the top of this dome. So we're all looking up, staring at the ceiling. And I believe because I have low blood pressure or something, looking up for that long made me really lightheaded and nauseous. I guess not enough blood was getting to my head, but I actually fainted right in the middle of the tour. It was scary because I just blacked out. I think one of the security guards caught me, so I didn't hit my head on the floor, which was very nice. I just fainted and was laying there on the floor. Everyone else in the tour was like, "What do we do?" But luckily, I got up a few minutes later and had a slice of cake, and everything was fine. But yeah, that's my biggest memory from Seville. Next postcard I have is from Granada. So in Granada, there's this really famous place called the Alhambra. It's a sprawling palace with a lot of different complex buildings perched upon a hill. So I have this postcard of the inside of that palace, lined with fountains, these plants, this climbing tree, these balconies, and this curved detailing, the arches, and the red tiled roof. It's a really beautiful place. Next, I have a couple of postcards from Lisbon. It's actually been a while, so I'm remembering the names of all these places, but I can tell you my memories from them. So this area is, once you walk from the center, you go through this large gate, and you can sit right here on the stairs by the water. When I was here, I bought a bunch of pastel de nata, which are like egg tarts, and I just sat here eating them. They were so good. They're the best I've ever had. Really crispy on the sides and kind of caramelized on top, and the inside custard was so rich and creamy. That was a good memory. And this, I don't remember what this was called, but we climbed all the way up. It was really cold and windy when we went. I was wearing my puffer jacket. Just remember it being freezing once we finally got to the top. another postcard from Alhambra in Granada. You see kind of this beautiful architecture. So Granada is part of the Andalusian region of Spain, which had a lot of Islamic influence, which you can kind of see in the architecture here. Also looks out on the city. So all these hills, these houses perched on them. It's really beautiful. Next is not really a postcard, I guess. I have all these stamps. I got these in Belgium. See, it says here Belgique. And I haven't actually opened them. Kind of wanted to keep them in here, but we have this is fig, daffodil, some grapes, apple, butterfly, little man. These ones look older. Let's see if we can see a year. 1937, this one. Just a lot of them. I think it's pretty cool. It costs €2.50. The next one, I think I got in England. I got a Paddington, because I really like Paddington. He's really cute. I like his enjoyment of marmalade. I like his little hat and his raincoat. He's going fishing in this drawing. This next one is from Oxford. We just walked around the streets in Oxford. Bustling, just like in this picture. Little tower at the back. These are all from our visit to Versailles. So these are actually the tickets. So they have these Hall of Mirrors from the Queen's bedroom. Kinds of details from inside the chateau. It's very beautiful. And then I have this painting from the chateau. So we have the garden surrounding them. If you've ever been to Versailles, the gardens are like a maze. They go on for miles and miles. You could really get lost there. When I went to Versailles, I followed this little trail at the back. I don't even know if I was allowed to go there, but I followed this trail down the countryside all by myself. Passed by a bunch of small houses, and there's just nothing there but me, houses, and nature, and it's really beautiful. And eventually I wound my way back to the main chateau. I don't really know, but no one else was on that trail, so it's interesting. This next postcard, is this Monet or is it Renoir? So I got this from Musée d'Orsay in Paris. So there's these women following this trail, this garden. This kind of reminds me of the story I just told you guys. I was walking on a trail in the countryside. Another postcard from Versailles now. This is Marie Antoinette's little cottage? Am I lying? I don't know. It reminds me of when Marie Antoinette had a little cottage built, or a little village, I should say, built in the back of Versailles to kind of simulate country life. She built all these little cottages and had a whole village with animals and stuff, just so she could simulate what it's like to live in the countryside, despite herself being royalty. I don't know if that's actually what's depicted here, but that's what it reminds me of. And this is from the Louvre in France. Vintage postcard, picking oranges in Florida. I like how vibrant the colors are and the contrast of bright orange against the verdant green, sky blue. All these workers picking oranges. Actually a vintage postcards of someone actually wrote on it many years ago. I don't know what year exactly. It says, "Got your card. Hi, old boy." Don't even know what this says. The scenery across the states. Something, something, something. Your friend, Dennis. To Claude Holt in Apex, North Carolina. So I think that's cool that you have a school postcard and also a message on it. A little bit of like history, and you can kind of look into other people's lives, even though I couldn't really read what it said, but it's still cool. Apologize that these are all out of order. This is Monet from Musée d'Orsay again. This moment with the parasol in the wind. I like how you can almost see movement of the wind, like a scarf blowing. You can almost imagine it. But this was cool. Am I allowed to show this on YouTube? Maybe I won't for now. This painting is from the Louvre. It's the coronation of Josephine by Napoleon. Here, this is Josephine. I think that's the Pope there. All these important people, all in now, are lined up watching the coronation. I thought it was just so grand and interesting. Still have a lot of postcards left. These next ones are all from Bruges in Belgium. So just images of the cityscape. Another one is Bruges along the river at night. This says Bonne année, and these little snow-lined slopes with pine trees. A vintage card again. No idea what this says. It's all in cursive. But this is a vintage one. I have a bunch more from Bruges. These all have these crinkly edges. They're kind of in that very bright color from vintage photos. So this is the river with swans, the town center, along the river again, some pretty scenes. There's no year on any of these, but maybe 60s, I would guess. The next one I have is from Versailles again, the Grand Trianon, which have these like very interesting pink marble columns and checkerboard floor. Now we're just gonna go into like a miscellaneous collection of postcards from over the years. I don't know how I even got some of these, but this is Savannah, Georgia, Gaston Street. Kennedy Space Center with some astronauts. These are stuck together. I used to hang this on my wall, I guess. The Whitney Museum in New York City. Historical details again, Savannah. Random Kate Spade, New York. I guess I like the pattern. bunch of random penguins, I guess. Maybe this is from China. Just some artwork of some koi fish and a little girl swimming in this celestial looking bowl. This is from Philadelphia, the oldest residential street in America, I believe. Elfris Alley. New York City in the Chrysler Building. Chocolate Hills in the Philippines. I've never been here. Someone must have given this to me. Random corgi with donuts from a claw machine. It's cute. Oh, fold out. Postcards from Athens, Greece. And the Parthenon, the marbles. Historical depictions, the market, athletic fields, gaunts, Parthenon, more random penguins, Natural Bridge, Virginia. I actually visited here. Natural Bridge. It's a very old postcard. Still don't know what year this is from, but one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. More random penguins. New York. A bunch of random ones. See if I can find some good ones. They're all like random ones. I don't have any stories to tell about. They're just random ones. I have no idea where I got them from. Oh, this cool one from Quebec. Champlain Monument and Chateau Frontenac Hotel from Quebec. This is a vintage one I got from a little antique shop. It's one of these that like folds out. All these different postcards inside. Sorry, Linda. I like how it kind of folds. I have another one from the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. This one, apple orchard in bloom. Front. Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. George Washington's headquarters. Shenandoah Valley. Madison College. Luray Caverns. Shenandoah River. Just so many here. More Space Center. Some Glossier ones. Those free ones they give you when you buy stuff. This mango. Got this postcard in a rural village called Lijiang in China, which is very traditional. All the houses look like this. So, but this is a cute little card. Like a bunch of random ones now. Philadelphia, some art, Puerto Rico, the Terracotta Army, New York. So that is the end of my postcard collection today. I actually have a lot more. Some of them I have at school. Some I've hung up on the walls here in my room. So this was just a quick sample of all my postcards. So I hope you enjoyed telling the stories of them. Yeah, sweet dreams. Thank you for watching. Say bye, Luna.